This conference is more than a day. It's more than an event. It is a movement. We are here to reclaim the wisdom. We are here to reclaim the knowledge. We are here to heal our own wounds. We are here to pass it down to our children, to our grandchildren, to our sons, to the fathers that are here in the room, and for everyone. So thank you for being here on such an important day, this 2 days for taking time out of your lives, because this is generational change right here. So thank you for being a part of it.
So how serious is the problem of infertility? Well, research has called the problem of infertility a growing emergency. 1 in 6 couples today, so if you think of your 5 closest friends and their partners and yourself and your partner, statistically speaking, one of you has struggled with fertility or is struggling now. And as common as that is, like tragically common, it's also a very private suffering. And because there's tends to be a lot of stigma attached to infertility, it's really painful, it's very stressful, and women and couples feel like they're the only one going through it. They may not have any friends or people in their family that they can talk to about it. And in many cultures, it's also a situation in which women become disenfranchised, they become disinherited if they are childless. It's a risk for suicide. It's very, very serious. In our culture, the stress of infertility has been compared to that of going through cancer or having HIV.
After having my second baby, that was when the Love Your Labor kicked off. That's when the college kind of got wind of me and investigated me. I dropped my license. I said, I do not need that. I do not need these letters after my name. And as soon as I did that, I went to the farm for a week-long midwifery assistant training program. I steeped myself in natural birth, in home birth specifically. I learned everything there was to learn, and I got so confident. I completely unlearned everything that had been kind of rattling around in the back of my mind about medicalized birth. I spent a week with the farm midwives. I emailed Ina May Gaskin, and I was like, can I come to your house? Can I interview you? We gardened for an hour. We talked about natural birth. It was unbelievable. And then got home and accidentally got pregnant like a month later. And I had all the baby vibes flowing. And because I had all of this confidence in home birth, I was now not educated, not empowered. I was downright determined, like Mama Bear, get out of my way, nothing is stopping this home birth experience.
Anytime you get a headache or a toothache, this works on every kind of ache. I wanted to see if it worked on birth when I had my third baby. And so when I was in the birthing process, I would feel the stretching sensations down low, and they hurt. And I tried to make them bigger. And I looked at the color, and it completely disappeared, just like that. The reason why we get into all this pain is because we're resisting it.
So the way I see this is in the same way that the rib cage is the guardian of the vital organs of the heart and the lungs, in the same way that the skull encircles the essential brain, I see the pelvis as another guardian of a vital area. And no one would immediately think of the pelvic organs as vital organs. But let's think about this for a moment. If we didn't have uteruses, or if they ceased to exist, well, humankind would cease to exist, right? So your heart might keep you alive, but it's the uterus that keeps humankind alive. So in my books, that's vitally important. And I would think that the organ from which life emerges should be given the same level of respect and importance as the heart and the lungs.
We envision a world where every woman has the right to birth in a way that honors her body, her baby, and her choices. A world where birth is seen not as a medical event, but a natural empowering process. A world where mothers are surrounded by a circle of support that trust in her sovereignty and that honor her instincts, and to celebrate this miracle of life. We are the birth keepers. We are the sovereign ones. We are the ones that will change the world. Let us rise together in the name of every mother and every baby. Let us create a world where birth is celebrated, where sovereignty is honored, and where every woman can step into her power and birth her way. This is our mission, this is our calling, and we will not stop until every woman everywhere has the freedom to birth as she chooses.
Let's look at some definitions here, academic ones. Birth trauma is a woman's experience of interactions and/or events related to childbirth that cause overwhelming, distressing emotions and reactions leading to short and/or long-term negative impacts on a woman's health. The research tells us that when a woman describes her birth as traumatic, 1/3 of the time they cite unexpected medical events or loss. And if you've been in this industry for longer than a half an hour, almost all of those are iatrogenic. 2/3 report that the reason they had a traumatic birth was because of violence and mistreatment by the maternity staff. Now, it has been called obstetric violence, but as it turns out, they don't like that word. It upsets them. So we have to say obstetric mistreatment because we don't want them being upset.
For 25 years, I had been backing midwives at home. And I didn't start doing that because I thought home birth was a good idea. I did it because I was trying to make money. But slowly over those years, the midwives convinced me that everything pretty much I knew about birth was wrong. And I began to see a whole other way of doing something. So the midwives encouraged me to go and start doing home birth. And I have to tell you, after 25 years of backing midwives, I went to my first home birth and I was nervous. I was totally nervous. Like, well, what happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? I really didn't know much about it. But fortunately, I had the midwives that went with me, and I never really went to births over the next 12 years without a midwife. And then I got bolder. And I said, if I can do home births with a head-down baby, why can't I do breeches and twins? And then eventually diabetics and eventually hypertensives.
We wanted to create something beautiful. That was what we said when we started this a year ago. It's literally been a year in the making. The day we finished our last conference, we said we're doing that again. It's definitely a calling for both of us. So just thank you all for being here, and I hope you've come with open hearts and open minds and here to learn and share and experience together. So thank you.
Your cells act like little recorders and they hold on to everything that happens, whether you are aware of it or not. I think we all know that in this room. But one of the things is that the scar tissue just holds on to those emotions. It's not proper functioning tissue, it's not getting flushed through. So one of the great things that I love with my work is that we are opening up that scar tissue and releasing the trauma.
All we want to do is do no harm. We want to bring back the philosophy of true healthcare, where do no harm is the absolute principle and there's no negotiating that.